Do you find yourself feeling lazy and unmotivated when it comes to eating healthy? Does the idea of all this time preparing food fill you with overwhelm? Or is it just the fact food seems plain and boring and it's like hard work? Then this video is for you because I'm going to give you 3 tips, 3 things that you can do to change your eating habit, but that can actually help you find a little bit more motivation for cooking those foods that are really, really good for you. Before we kick off into that, firstly, don't give yourself a hard time, okay? A lot of us will feel stressed, we have low feelings, we feel the social pressure, we can feel all these things that actually make us feel less motivated and increase the laziness feeling. Okay, so don't give yourself a hard time because you're feeling that way. Instead, just go, it's okay, but I can do this. So when we get into those 3 tips, there'll be 3 things that you can do. The second thing I'll make you aware of before we kick off into those 3 tips is the fact of don't jump all in to begin with. You don't have to get it all right or do this huge fancy regime, recipe, or anything like that. In fact, keeping it simple is the best way forwards. And that beautifully leads me into point 1, tip number 1, simple recipes, simple meals. Okay, healthy food can be tasty, delicious, flavorsome, but doesn't have to be complicated. It just takes a little bit of thought. So maybe that bit of planning ahead, a bit of thought, that will help you, because then you can just think and go, okay, I can eat this here, and then I can have that as a side with this then. Okay, so that's sort of pre-planning, simple recipes, keeping it straightforward as possible. Point 2 is still in the planning phases, because a lot of the time what puts us off, I know this is one of my biggest things, is thinking I've got to spend all this time cutting up vegetables and doing all this preparation, and then I've got to cook it as well. All right, let's cut out that prep time. Okay, spend a day, pick a day a week, or maybe 2 days where you spend the time. Maybe you've just been to the store and you spend the time then cutting up all the veg and putting it into tubs or bags in the fridge. You can even blanch some or freeze them. Okay, I say all there because if it's butternut squash, you can cut it up and freeze it as it is. It doesn't need blanching. But a lot of vegetables just that slight softening before you freeze it, and then it's all ready to go. So frozen is actually a great way to help you. But taking the time in one block means that, say you do that on a Sunday, when you come to cook on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you just go that tub, that tub, that tub, and just pick out the bits that you need. Beautiful. Saves you so much time in the cooking process, and it means that you can focus on the food you're eating rather than wasting time preparing. And the last one, we talk about batch cooking a lot, and I've kind of just mentioned it about having cooking days and non-cooking days. Okay, so I personally love this one because you can choose a cooking day, which means that you kind of go, okay, I'm going to prepare and cut up all these vegetables, but on top of doing all this, I'm going to make a huge pot of this. So for me, it's normally a soup. Pretty much guaranteed I'll always make a soup because a big box of soup is about 3 or 4 meals. Okay. Then on top of that, you can go, okay, I like to do 1 cup pots which has lentils, vegetables, and loads of flavorings. Okay, so you can either have that as a side, or you can have that, say, as a meal as itself. Then on top of that, I'll tend to roast some vegetables. So this is a cooking day. Okay, so bear in mind then, once it's all cooked, I'll have my meals that day, but then that food is still good, so I can either freeze it ready for later in the future, or it's still good for a couple of days, which means I can put it in the fridge, and then when I want it, just take it out and reheat it. So you have a cooking day, then the next day, all I have to do is heat food. So easy, saves you time. So just to quickly recap on that, if you want to find a bit of motivation, keep it simple. Okay, let's cut the overwhelm and just start keeping it simple. Find things that you do like and pull those in more, because then you're more likely to enjoy what you're doing. Make it fun. The second one is about the preparing, which leads us and connects us to point 3, cooking and non-cooking days. Okay, you may find it hard to find the motivation, but if that's your cooking time, make it fun. Add some excitement to it. Maybe get your partner involved or a friend and do it together. But realistically, you can take all this lazy, unmotivated feeling and make it work to your advantage, because then during the week or when you feel less motivated, you don't have to find it because you've already done the work. So guys, if you have enjoyed this, you found some value, please drop me a like and of course your thoughts below. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you in the next video.